my peeps, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me yet again on the Lighten Up Project. I am Malcolm Grissom, the stand-up CEO and founder of the World Laughter Organization. And you're not. I have today another wonderful guest. She is fabulous. She does a lot. She does a lot. So I am going to go ahead and try and cut down what she does in maybe, 10, 30 seconds, maybe, but that is anyway. So my next guest, Judy Wong, she is the life list activator. She activates your life list, not your bucket list, your life list. She's a life list activator. She is a New Yorker. Don't get her wrong. Her name is Judy Wong. She looks Chinese, but hey, she's a true New Yorker. We'll talk about that too. Trust me, there's stories. She is an international speaker. She's an author. She's a poet. She is an artist. She is an artiste. Please welcome Judy Wong.
Oh, God, it is so nice to be with you, Malcolm. I love hanging out with you. Yes, I am an artist. I like to say I am an artist at life. People go, what do you do? I say, believe me, you don't want to know what I do. But when I think back on all the things I've done, and believe me, I've had more careers in my life than most people in their families. My husband's still trying to figure out what the hell I've done in my life. But I like to say, honestly, it's about being an artist in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I am. I'm an artist in life. Because, everybody says, well, what's the longevity secret? I said, stop trying to die.
Right.
Right. What a concept. You're alive. Make believe you're alive.
Right. And people I don't want to say that. I'm going to edit myself. I'm going to be nuts.
It's true. It's true. Well, everybody's always talking about bucket lists, right? And your legacy and your eulogy. What in God's name are you carrying on about your death for? Mm-hmm. You have no idea when that's going to be. That's the truth is you don't know when that's going to be.
Yep.
Yes, it is inevitable. This wonderful corporal body that we are in will wear out at some point in time, but you have no bloody idea when that is going to be.
That is going to be correct.
I mean, think about it. When I was young, if somebody hit 100, the president of the United States called you up. Swear, they did. But you know what? Now, when people call me and they, so-and-so just made 100 and 110, whatever, you're like, oh, cool. When's the party?
Speaking of president, let us play our two truths and a lie game. All right. How this works is Judy has provided me with two truths and a lie. I'm going to read them to you throughout the interview based on what we talk about. You can go ahead and guess and be your detective selves, and at the end of the interview, we're going to reveal the answer. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So, two truths and a lie. Well, the first thing, brought up president, she's known Trump since he was 19. That's the first one. She's known Trump since he was 19. The other one is that she learned to sing when she was 40 years old. And the third one is she's had an ulcer since 16. Two truths and a lie. Guess which one is the lie? Anyway, Judy, would you mind joining me in 20 seconds of spontaneous laughter.
Sure.
All righty. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Whoa. Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
Here's the
You know, that's how I opened my show last night.
Really? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, with laughter. Yes, so the first question I have for you, Judy, is what is your relationship to laughter?
Well, you know what? I learned a long time ago. God knows I have lived through just about every drama and trauma you could think of on the planet. But the truth is that I learned a long time ago, you got two things to think about. You could cry about it, or you could laugh about it. And let me tell you, laughing about it is a hell of a lot more healthier. Crying about it used to drag me down through the toilet into the hole and destroy me. But when I
tried out Shawshank Redemption, you guys got get busy living, get busy dying. But
Yeah.
Judy Wong has said you could cry about it, you could laugh about it.
It's true. It's true. And you know what? I thought about it every time, as you know, like about 15 years ago, I basically saved my own life kind of thing. And when I thought back on all the dramas and the traumas, and I realized as I crawled out of the hole, right, and back up to life again, when I look back at it, I was like, actually, it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, think about it. My first divorce left me homeless, jobless, and $20,000 in his debt because he liked to go shopping on my dime. And when you think about it, it's like everybody goes, "Oh, take it to the cleaners and back." I said, "Oh yeah, well." But when you think about it, it was like, oh, it gave me a clean slate, and I got to get on with my life in a much better way. So you laugh about it. You can't cry about it. Because, I always tell my clients, because, I'm a life coach now, and it's like, there are two sides of the coin in every situation, in every point in your life, every one of them. And the reason we remember them as a misery one is because we only remember the one side of the coin. But if you step back and look at it and flip the coin, you realize there was a really insanely crazy other side of the coin, and you realize I can now flip the coin away and let it go into the past, as my dear friend Peter Levine, who is the founder of somatic healing, as he says, you can finally release it and let it go into the past where it belongs.
Mm-hmm.
Where it belongs. You didn't need to put it on a shelf so that you didn't have to think about it. You didn't need to put it in a closet so you didn't need to see it. Let it go. But you can't let it go if you're only looking at one side of the coin, right? So we got to flip it to the funny side of the coin. And, I used to tell my teachers, I used to be a teacher trainer, because, yes, I was also an international educator for years. And I used to tell my teachers, they would be like, "Oh, I'm really scared." The early service teachers who were teaching for the first time, they'd be like, "I'm really, really, really scared. I'm scared to go into that classroom." And I go, "You know what you got to do?" And they go, "What you got to do?" And I go, "I want you to make the biggest shit-eating freaking grin on your face that you can make." She goes, "Judy, that's like crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, really. Make the biggest." I said, "Come on, we'll practice it right now. Make the biggest shit-eating grin you can make. You don't have to do it in front of anybody. Make the biggest shit-eating grin you can make, and then open the door of that classroom and walk in. I guarantee every time the children will be the nicest, sweetest, kindest, most cooperative human beings on the planet. And you will not feel scared. Because think about it. When you do that, it triggers all those wonderful little chemicals in your body that give you the happy chemicals. And when you're also doing that, it's contagious. I mean, think about it. No matter how crappy you feel, if you walk in a room and somebody's laughing their butt off, do you feel crappy? Even if you're trying to feel crappy, it's hard to feel crappy because it's like this, I'm an energy healer. It sends out these waves of joy, of high vibes. And you can't help but catch the wave because those negative vibes can't vibe like that. I actually had a client one time. I said to her, go, and the next time you go to the grocery store, I want you to put on a shit-eating grin, smile. And everyone you see, just keep smiling at. You don't have to talk to them. Just smile. Smile at everybody and everything you see. And they did. And they went, the weirdest thing? People, strangers, were coming up and smiling at me going, and the cashier was like, oh, what can I do for you? She was actually, because she had something or other with her checkout, just problem. She goes, all these people were helping me. Like, here, let me help you put your groceries on the checkout thing. And she was like, it was so strange. But everybody walking in and out were like, oh, can I help you with your groceries to the car? And all I did was smile.
Mm-hmm.
Smile.
Yeah. Yep.
The power of the laughter, the power of the smile.
Every smile opens a door.
Exactly.
Or it can open the door.
Exactly. And the frowns, let me tell you, they close the door.
Yep. That's true. 'Tis true. So, you are New Yorker, and as a lot of people know, New Yorkers have a lot of emotion. And as an artist, artists have a lot of emotion. That's what makes us artists, is our emotion and our willingness to share that emotion. So, what emotion in your life do people most often misunderstand about you?
That's a good question. When I was very young, I had a kind of a quirky kind of upbringing because I actually grew up in show business. So, but you weren't allowed to tell anybody. I wasn't allowed to tell anybody that I was a successful person in show business because I was also being brought up in a normal people's school environment because my mother thought I would be weird if I was in a professional kids' school environment. So I was forced to go into a normal people's school environment. The problem with that is those people were not allowed to know what I did for a living because everybody would have gotten in trouble. Children are not allowed to work during school hours. And in those days, there were no protections for children in the business.
Mm-hmm.
The best protection I got was from my manager, who was really, honest to God, her name was Rose. She really was a Mama Rose. And she protected me fiercely, yes, so that no one would abuse me. But at the same time, that were my working hours. And so in the school world, people thought I was always angry and I was always quiet. And then I didn't like to talk to people. And I was very lonely. And, they thought I would laugh at things because I was sarcastic and everything. But they didn't understand I was laughing because I was trying to make it more palatable to live the life that I was living. They didn't know that I was quiet and not talking and angry all the time, because I felt if I acted angry, nobody would bother me and ask questions.
Mhm.
They didn't know that's why. They just thought I was this angry kid all the time who was sarcastic and always saw the dark side of life and was really, could be nice, but could be like weird. They didn't know it was because I was hiding me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other side, when I was in that environment, my work environment, I could be myself because I didn't have to hide anything. I didn't have to hide that I was in school. Well, at least not within my friends, because they were all doing the same thing, I didn't have to hide that, but I did on the other side. Sometimes we think people are bullies or angry or sad all the time because that's just the way they are. We don't always understand that sometimes there's something deeper going on.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you had the kindness or the compassion to not take in what they're putting out, and maybe see the other side of that. So like I said, remember I was talking about the flip side of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we cannot forgive some of the evil that were done to us. We cannot forgive that. But if we revisit and we see the flip side of the coin, we see the world from that person's side of the coin, very often you will understand hurt people hurt others. And if you understand where that hurt came from, you can forgive the hurt child. You can forgive not the hurt that they evoked out at people, but you can forgive the hurt child for being so hurt they had no other avenue but to hurt others, because nobody cared to heal their hurt.
Yep. Too true.
And when you do that, and you see them as the hurt child who is hurting others, you can let go. But if you don't see that, it's just a mean person hurting me.
That's one of the philosophies of the World Laughter Organization, especially dealing with bullying prevention, is that bullies are victims. It's Martin Luther King Jr. He was one of my heroes, and he preached about loving your enemy, and he has this wonderful this wonderful speech about people asking, wait a minute, how are we supposed to love our enemies if they are burning our houses and beating us up and spitting on us? How are we supposed to love them? And Martin Luther King answers, well, you love the person, not what they do, right? So behind these violent acts, there is a person there. They're hurting. And they're
scared. They're hurting. There's a lot.
Exactly. And that might be the only way that they know to deal with it. So yes, thank you for saying that. I love that.
Or maybe like that was the only way they were taught to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My parents, I had a nanny who took care of me. But because my father was always working, he was actually the one who sort of raised us, but he was always working. And my mother was completely and totally domestically challenged. It's the best way to put it. A woman had no idea how to be, like, whatever. Some people are made to be mothers and others are not. She was not one of them. But it took me a lot of years to realize behind her actions was a lot of pain growing up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she grew up with polio, with a metal brace, being ostracized as a young girl. I mean, she went through a lot. And the only way she knew how to deal with the world was to be like a narcissist, kind of like, you don't like me, I hate you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that later in life. My father, we had a pretty caustic relationship. He did with me and my brother because he was very strict and he was very like, by the book, my way or the highway kind of thing. And yeah, I used to get smacked around every day. I actually thought I did something wrong if I didn't get smacked that day, because I got smacked every day. I was a bit of a wild one. Wasn't until my 40s when my father and I made friends again, and we made up with each other. And he said to me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I treated you and your brother badly. I'm sorry. I realized later it wasn't right. He said, but I was trying to do the best I knew how. I was an angry young man because my life wasn't turning out the way it was supposed to. And I was trying to raise you and your brother. And I didn't know how to do that. And the only way I knew how to do it was the way your grandfather did it. And your grandfather was quite mean. And he hit us, he beat us. And he says, I realized later, when my little sister was born, who she's like a generation younger than me, she was an oops baby. He said, I realized then I was wrong. And that's why I treated your little sister differently. He goes, but I want you to know how much I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to be mean to you. I loved you guys. I was trying my best. But that was all I knew.
Right.
And
Right. It's all he knew. And just like you at that time where you were quiet, it was a safety mechanism too. You was emotional. What does emotional safety look like for you now?
I'm actually in a whole nother place.
Yes, you are.
I don't, I guess because I've changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I found my own light again, the child that we all come in the world with. And we all know we came into the world with this beautiful light energy. Because when we came into this world, everything was beautiful. Everything was perfect. Nothing was terrible. Nothing was bad. Nothing was impossible. And about 15 years ago, I finally found her again. And actually, she was sort of laughing at me like, well, when the hell were you going to pay attention? I've been here all this time. And when I embraced her and I came back to me again, shit happens still now once in a while, but it doesn't take me down anymore. It doesn't feed into me anymore, because when it happens, I may initially get slapped in the head and go, oh, that really sucked. And then I go, oh, well.
Yeah.
Laugh about it and let it go, because like I always say, there's a funny side. There is one of my favorite old timers, Bob Hope, was a brilliant comedian, very funny man. Everybody remembered him as a very funny man, right? Mm-hmm. When he was not very old, he was relatively young. He was diagnosed with a serious heart condition. And the doctor said, you got to cut back on what you're doing. You're going to kill yourself. Your heart is not doing well. he went on to live many, 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 many more years later. And I don't remember who he was talking to exactly. It was a late night talk show host. Maybe it was Johnny Carson or somebody like that, or the one before him. And he was sitting there with the late night talk show host. And the guy looked at him and said, I can't believe how old you are now. I know you had a really big heart condition scare, and everybody was not expecting you to live much longer. What did you do so that you could live longer like this? Mm-hmm. And he said, you know what? I realized I was the one killing my heart. Because he was a sweet man. He really was a sweet man. And he loved humanity so much. And he really took it to heart during the war, all the pain that was going out in the war, in the world, which is why he did all those USO tours. Mm-hmm. They bring light and laughter to people around the world who were in horrible war conditions to help them not give up on life. And he knew if he brought laughter to them, they would be able to survive better. And, but he took the world to heart. He took all of the pain in the world to heart. And he realized he needed to save his own heart because it was killing his own heart. So what he said was, when he was told that his heart was dying, he made it a choice that he had to heal himself the way he was healing the world. And he decided from then on, he would find the funny in no matter what he had to endure, no matter what incident, issue, there was always a funny. If he had to go to a funeral with his best friend, he had to find the funny. And he said, you know what? There's always a funny in everything. No matter how devastating you think it is, there is a funny there.
There is.
I mean, when my father finally passed, and it was pretty heartbreaking because my oldest son was born on his birthday, in his Chinese birthday year, and the two of them were so together. And it broke my older son's heart to see his grandfather go. And I had to find the funny. And I went to his casket to say goodbye to him. And in his hands, his younger brothers, and he came from 9 brothers, they put a winning poker hand in his hand in that casket. So when he met his older brothers, because his 2 older brothers went before him, when he met his 2 older brothers and the one younger brother, he had the winning poker hand when he sat down at the game.
There you go. There you go. There you go. I want to add for our viewers, I want to interject that yes, there's always funny in everything. And sometimes it's not appropriate to point that funny out. It's a timing thing. So this is where you hear about comedy and timing is very important. And this is an example of timing where it's funny. There's a funny there. And it might not be the right time to share it. You might need to table it and wait and share it later. But it's funny. And
the funny is really for you.
Right.
The funny is really not for the general public or your audience. It's for you.
Exactly.
Because it made my heart lift.
Right.
My dad was going on to his maker or the next step, or I do believe, you go on because your souls don't end. But, he was going on to hang out with his brothers, and there was one hell of a poker game going on the other side.
Yeah.
And he had the winning hand.
That's great. That's great. So tell us the story, because you alluded to it. Now, you piqued our interest. Tell us the story of how you met this inner self 15 years ago that changed your life.
Well, the truth was, I was going through the divorce from my kid's dad after a long 25-year psychologically abusive marriage. And basically I had gotten some intervention dinners with some family members of mine that were like, you got to get out of this. He's trying to kill you. And you got to go. And I kept, I stuck it out for 25 years because I kept thinking, I'm doing this for my kids. They were young. I was trying to keep a family together, do the right thing kind of thing. And I realized that wasn't helping. And at that point, one was leaving for college. The other one was due to go to college soon. And the youngest was, working his way up there. But here I was in my late 50s. Yeah, I am that old. Literally at our divorce, for our divorce, I gave him a get out of jail free card because he wanted the divorce. And I didn't want to make something bad. I didn't hate the man. Despite what he did, I didn't hate him. I wanted him to get on with a better life. And if he was that miserable, let it go. And I didn't have the guts to admit to my kids at the time that literally the only thing we had going for us was I had a roof over our heads. I literally had nothing else. And I had no money. I had no full-time job. I've made lots of money in the past, but, he put a kibosh on that over the 25 years we were together. And I was scared, but I wasn't going to let my kids know I was scared. So I smiled, I laughed, said, we're going to be great. We're going to be fine. We got a great life going. And my youngest son was really scared because his father had fed him a lot of lies about me. So he was like, what's going to happen to us? I said, we're going to be great. We're going to be good. Don't worry about it. We got it covered. And then I went into my room, closed the door, and collapsed. Because I had gotten to the point that I was having trouble getting a full-time job. I was trying to figure out how was I going to put 3 kids through college on my own with zero help from any human being on this planet. Zero. Financial, legal, anything. It was me, myself, and I. And I was also putting myself through college so I could finish the degree that my not so lovely mother derailed when I was quite young. And I didn't know where to go. I had already figured out I kind of hawked everything that I could think of I could hawk for money. And I was like, how am I going to find $15 to make it to Friday when I had a tutoring gig? Because I needed to put food on the table for those kids. And I honestly didn't know I was going to get it. And I had, at that point, tried everything. I tried every business in the box. I tried every wellness thing I could think of. I was doing all of those wonderful things that people used to say, like hundreds of thousands of dollars are coming to me from everywhere and anywhere. Didn't work. And I remember sitting there, and for lack of any place else to go, because I figured the world gave up on me, and I gave up on me. So there's no place else to go but inside. And while I was sitting in my room, collapsing, for the first time I saw this little light inside of me. Because I remembered something somebody told me during my first divorce when I got taken to the cleaners. Someone said to me, look, things come and go, people come and go, but things are just things. People are just people. The one thing they could never take away from you, ever, is you. And you were able to pull yourself up and do all these wonderful things at that point, because literally my first divorce, I had a really wonderful business. I was doing well. I had a house in the country, I had an apartment in the city, I had cars, I was traveling, and this person literally ripped it out from under me in less than 24 hours. And this person, this advisor, said, they can't take away you. You're the one who made it happen in the first place. If you did it once, you can do it again, because they can't take away you. And that voice came in that day. I was sitting there collapsing in my room. And I went down into me. And I realized she was still there. Yeah, she was buried alive over 25 years, but she was still there. And when I saw that light in me, and it was almost like ironic because I saw her smiling at me and laughing, going, when the hell were you going to pay attention? I've been here like all this time. All you had to do was ask. Mm-hmm. We got it. You and I were here. Mm-hmm. And when I realized she was still there, I went, yeah. They didn't take her away. They didn't take me away. Mm-hmm. I'm still here. And no one can take that away. No one can take that smile away. Mm-hmm. And the more I saw that, and the more I realized, the bigger she got. And the bigger she got, the stronger she got. And the bigger she got, the stronger I got. And the stronger I got, the easier it was to start smiling again. And the easier I got to smile again, the more the smile went out. And the more it went out, the more I started realizing that it wasn't the end of the world, that I can do this, and that no matter what anybody throws at me, it's okay. It's okay. Because I'm still laughing on the inside. Laughing on the inside, going out. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the wild thing is the next day, someone took me out to lunch, and I wasn't even asking for anything. It was a friend who wanted to chit-chat and whatever. She literally handed me $100 bill. And I was like, why are you handing me this? You know I never asked for any help. She goes, I know, but I don't have kids, and I like your kids, so I'm sure you could think of something to buy them. Here.
There you go. See? Yep.
And then the next day, I got 2 calls from schools that wouldn't even give me an interview because I was so old. They offered me a job.
Mm-hmm. Amazing things can happen.
The magic of smiling on the inside out.
All of this leads to what you do now. You are a life list activator. For our audience, please share what is a life list activator. And then you can also share, even though it's going to be in our show notes and everything, also share with us how people can contact you.
Well, during COVID, there was a lot of older folk. They were like me. They were productive, energetic, and really good. And they went and they bought the line that they're old. They locked themselves up in their houses, literally locked themselves up. They didn't even go out for food. Mm-hmm. And when they finally emerged, they came in wheelchairs, walkers, or dead. And for the first time, I realized this is not to happen. This is wrong. And my husband, he's a public service doctor. He was furious. And he was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. They should, and he's just, I mean, he's like as young as I am. And I mean, like he's actually 10 years, he's a lot older than me, but you know, we don't look any different. But we jokingly say we're up to 6 gray hairs between us. But he was upset too. And he says, honey, you know, you've been helping, you know, friends of ours one by one to get over their like implosion as we were being put out to pasture.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you need to help more people. And all I was doing was people were saying, why is it in the last 10 years, y'all got younger and healthier and we got older? What is the secret? I said, well, it ain't about a fountain of youth, for crying out loud. We're all running around for that fountain of youth. There is no such thing. It's about a fountain of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's about living. And 15 years ago, when I found myself again and I slowly brought myself back to life, I realized what in hell's name was I making bucket lists for? I'm not 1 foot in the grave. I'm alive. And I like being alive. And I love life. And we love life. We don't want to die. We love living. So why are we making bucket lists? Why are we not making a life list? Because we're actually alive. What a concept. Be alive. Be alive. Make a life list. Stop walking towards your death. And that's what I started doing. I started helping people because I realized I really am an energy healer. So I realized I could actually heal them, the dramas and trauma stuff. So that, you know, look, over the years, we've had a lot of lies and false stories and stuff that buried our light alive. That's what happened to me. So I help people do what I did, which is break open the cocoon, let your light back out. And when you break open your cocoon and let your light back out, you suddenly remember all those dreams and wonderful things you always wanted to do in your life, not before your death, in your life. All the things that you dreamed of doing. And the truth is, dreams don't have an expiration date. They really don't. And so what I do is now I help them break the cocoon open, let their light of life out so that they can dream again and have wonderful life. And I help them reactivate that life list that they had inside them all along so that they can go on living an exponential, wonderful life. And the wild thing is, without even trying, their health suddenly improved exponentially. Their abundance started flowing exponentially, just like when we were younger and we weren't thinking about death all the time.
Uh-huh.
Because there's no reason for that, truthfully. Humans are living to 100 or more, and any schmuck who's telling you different is lying to you. And if you're only 60 or 70, you got 30, 40 more years to go. That is not a short life. So why are you crying about it? Start laughing about it. Right? So that's what I do. And yes, if you want to find me, you could always find me at my website, which is raiseyourfountainoflife.com.
Raiseyourfountainoflife.com.
Pretty easy to remember. Because just raise it, dear. Turn up the spigot and let it fly. Everybody goes, how are you handling all the crazy shit going on? I said, I laugh about it because I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? Come on. I talk to people I literally talk, I'm an international worker, and I literally talk to people across the globe every day of the week. And I see more light flying than I see shadow. Mm-hmm. So anybody who tells you shadow and darkness is what's bleeding across. No, it's not. It's really not. Light is stronger than darkness and negativity across the globe throughout humanity. It's just that, you know what? and I truly believe this, the shadow is running butt naked, scared.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way the shadow can get more power is to instill fear. So don't suck up to fear. Don't let people throw fear at you. Laugh in their face at the fear and go, I'm sorry, you don't scare me. Ha ha.
Judy, what's one thing you want our listeners to remember about you when the episode ends? Or remember about what you've said?
Listen, you're alive. Start living your life for living. Stop making your bloody bucket list. And stop going around telling everybody you're retired just because you took some retirement money. Take the bloody money and run. But you could say you're reignited, reinvented, rejuvenated. I always jokingly say, this is my newest reincarnation.
Judy, I thank you so much for this interview. It's been so great. A lot of gems. Let us get to our 2 truths and a lie. Let's see how everyone did. So to remind you all, one is Judy's known Trump since he was 19. Not since she was 19, since he was 19. 2, she learned to sing when she was 40 years old. And 3, she's had an ulcer since she was 16. All right. Judy, which is the lie?
I learned to sing at 40. I was a professional actress, singer, dancer, and model, a quadruple threat, since I was 6 years old.
Well, there you go. All right. Judy Wong, everybody. Judy Wong, thank you so much for joining us on the Lighten Up Project. Everyone else, thank you for listening. And please tune in again next week when we bring another fascinating guest for you. Until then, remember, keep laughing, because while life may be heavy at sometimes, healing doesn't have to be heavy. All right. Thank you very much. See ya. Stressed out, stuck, or leading on autopilot? It's not a motivational problem. It's a connection problem. My weekly virtual improv classes boost engagement, collaboration, and retention, all while having fun. Register now for a complimentary month.